Hello, it is such a pleasure to bring to all of you this fantastic initiative that the Jindal Global Law School and O.P Jindal Global University has promoted, the idea of an externship program at the Supreme Court of Hawaii. We are delighted to be hosting three distinguished judges from the Supreme Court of Hawaii with us. And let me begin by briefly introducing the program itself. The Jindal Global Law School of O.P Jindal Global University has been doing a number of activities and initiatives that has brought the students to the center and focus of their future. One of the ways by which we wanted to cultivate a deeper connect to the legal profession and hopefully for building aspirations among young people to pursue even judicial careers in the future is to introduce them to pathways that can help them work within judicial settings. In this regard, a number of our students have been working as judicial clerks within many Indian courts, all the way from the Supreme Court of India, as well as the various high courts and also other courts in India. But this is the first time the Jindal Global Law School and O.P Jindal Global University has taken this initiative to a global level, and we have partnered with the Supreme Court of Hawaii in the state of Hawaii. I am very delighted that we are hosting three distinguished judges, and I have with me Honorable Ms. Justice Sabrina McKenna, Honorable Mr. Justice Michael D. Wilson, and Honorable Mr. Justice Todd Eddins. Let me begin this discussion with you, Justice McKenna. That what do you think is the way the Supreme Court of Hawaii is looking at this program? How do you think, as an institution located in the state of Hawaii, you perceive the idea of international students from India coming and pursuing an externship program in your court?
Well, Vice Chancellor, thanks so much for this opportunity. This is the first time, as far as I know, that the Hawaii Supreme Court has ever done anything like this. And it's been such a privilege and pleasure to be able to host these wonderful law students from Jindal Global Law School. We have learned so much from them as much as they learn from us, because through the conversations that we have with the externs, with our law clerks, we're able to learn about comparative constitutional interpretation also, and how a court like the Supreme Court of India has viewed some of the same types of issues that we address. But I think for the Supreme Court of Hawaii, we have decided this is a wonderful program, something that should continue for many years, because it has been a wonderful exchange for us. We get to learn from the students get to learn from us, and in addition, the law clerks that come to us from Jindal get to know the other externs from the United States. They form friendships, and so it's just an overall excellent program.
Thank you very much, Justice McKenna. Over to you, Justice Michael Wilson.
I also have been very grateful for the talent and the commitment of the students that have been produced from this great law school. And it's a testament maybe to the future of the development of the law, that you have communities that have a lot of similarities, and we could talk about that, but India and Hawaii have a similarity in terms of a very, very diverse population and a commitment to a rule of law that's very strong. The Supreme Court of India has also been part of this extern program in a way because, and you very much helped engineer this relationship, but at the same time we've had externs, we've had justices from the Supreme Court of India. It's also useful to consider the experience in the sense that it's a very rare experience because the externs become part of our court.
Yeah.
They are privy to the work that the justices do,
yeah,
really without any boundaries,
right,
in the sense that they're treated just like any other law clerk. They get a chance to understand the workings of the court, the way the judges think, and they also get a chance to participate oftentimes in developing their written skills. So it's a program that has evolved into something that's highly professional and has, I think, helped people with their career from Jindal. And also it's helped our other law clerks too, open up their minds to a lot of legal analysis that might be taking place in other parts of the world that we could benefit from in Hawaii.
Thank you very much, Justice Wilson. Justice Eddins, besides answering that particular question, I would like you to also, respond to the fact that to what extent you believe this is a unique idea that the Supreme Court of Hawaii has, initiated from the standpoint of the interaction between, let's say, the other American, clerks who may be present and coming together with the students from Jindal in India, being part of a global clerkship program.
I think it's just wonderful. This program is absolutely wonderful. The cross-pollination of wonderful law students from Jindal coming to Hawaii and interacting with our court, interacting with our law clerks, interacting with our community is just a special, wonderful thing. I mean, and as Justice McKenna said, we have such ties with India. I mean, people might not think it, but just the reverence for nature, the culture, the respect that we have for elders. So there's a lot of similarities between the two countries. And I think, and I mentioned this earlier when we had a panel speaking, that I'm the youngest member of the court. And when I first got there, my first day on the job, Michael Wilson was regaling me with tales about just these wonderful students from Jindal that were coming to our court to learn from us. But as Justice McKenna says, I think the takeaway is we learn just as much from them, and our clerks have learned just as much from them. And I've talked to some of the clerks that have met some of the Jindal students, and it's just been a fabulous experience all around. And getting the two cultures together has just been, a wonderful thing.
Thank you, Justice Eddins. Justice McKenna, I want to push this conversation to the next level. And of course, today is a very special day where all of you are in India and at the campus of O.P Jindal Global University. We had a transparent process of selecting these students. We've interviewed, I believe there were 50 plus applications, and these students were shortlisted, and you had interviewed 10 of them, and 4 of them have been selected to pursue this program. So tell us a bit about that experience, how you felt in interviewing these students and the entire process of selection of these students so that they can be judicial clerks at your court.
Let me just say that, overall, the takeaway is what excellent students you have here. Because as you know, the decision who to choose was extremely difficult because we would have loved to take all of them. Unfortunately, due to space limitations and, logistical issues, we could only select 4. But you have excellent students here. They compared to law students anywhere in the world, their experiences, their maturity, their thought process. I was just so impressed with all of them. And it made the decision very difficult. But I agree with you. It's wonderful to be very transparent, to give them the information right away, and encourage them to apply again for those who were not selected and who are, not graduating. So you have excellent students here.
Thank you, Justice McKenna. Over to you, Justice Wilson. You, of course, have been part of the selection process for now many years. This is the next cohort, particularly after the pandemic. We are doing a physical externship program. So how was your reaction to this experience?
As you know, I've been doing this for a number of years.
Yeah.
And because of the chemistry that takes place that is so positive and unique, I really do think about growing the program, and I'm hopeful that you'll be able to do it perhaps even with other Supreme Courts. And I say that because when you consider the challenges in the future of what's happening globally, the idea that you would have trained professionals that feel very comfortable in comparative legal analysis, feel comfortable, therefore, maybe appearing in settings where they're arguing treaty issues, maybe feel more comfortable in settings where they're discussing issues before the United Nations. You're training a cadre of people who hopefully can create and lead new institutions, because we do need that. The way that governance globally is happening now, unless we come together in a much more organized and I guess you could say a much more legal way, we're not going to be able to solve a lot of world problems. So, yes, our externship program is something that offers an extra kind of opportunity to understand global issues and to be able to relate to those issues through the rule of law. And the rule of law is probably the most powerful tool protecting civilization right now. And we developed some experts on global rule of law through this program.
Thank you very much, Justice Wilson. Justice Eddins, this has been the first time you were part of the process as the newly appointed judge in the Supreme Court of Hawaii. So how was your experience?
This was my first opportunity to participate in this process, and I really commend your team for championing these individuals that came before us. And I was so impressed by everybody that we interviewed. And one comment I did share with them after the process was that, we have externs in the spring, we have externs in the fall from all the top law schools in the United States. They apply. And this collective group that we interacted with today, in person and on paper, exceeded our normal spring and fall externs. And I'm just really excited about this summer and interacting with your students here. They are all first class, top notch.
Thank you so much, Justice Eddins. While we are coming to the end of this program, I just wanted to ask each one of you, what are the big challenges that we are facing in legal education and even legal profession? Is that how do you inspire young people to be committed to public interest lawyering? This is an area which has become even more prominent because of the range of options and opportunities bright law graduates have today in the corporate sector and in many other sectors. That's one big challenge. And the second big challenge, which is a very unique challenge in India, maybe in other parts of the world, is that how do you attract bright lawyers to think about being part of the judiciary in the future? So I want each one of you to reflect, because you're all judges, past lawyers, made the choice to become a judge, maybe had many other lucrative career options as well as lucrative legal practice. So these two issues are so central, I believe, to the future of legal profession and legal education in India, because there is a lot of expectation from the society that lawyers need to stand up for protecting the rule of law, ensuring the due process, and strengthening democratic institutions. I would like each one of you to share your perspective on this.
Well, yes, I absolutely agree with you that it is critical that we expose law students to the importance of protecting the rule of law, to go into public service and to think about how they're going to use their knowledge and their degrees and their skills as a lawyer. I think in the United States, as you know, one way we've done encourage public interest is the public interest loan forgiveness program for those students that need to get loans to go to law school. As you know, legal education in the United States is ridiculously expensive. But other programs that law schools are doing are creating fellowships to pay for 1 year of postgraduate service in a public interest organization. And for example, I know that, for example, Berkeley Law does this for like 30 to 50 graduates every year, and they pay for 1 year of public service. 93% of their students end up serving in public interest law after that. But, I think what you're doing in this school is wonderful, because each and every single one of the students that interviewed with us, you can see that they are committed to the rule of law. They're committed to social justice. They're committed to making a difference. And they want to use their education and their backgrounds to change the world. And I'm just so impressed with what you're doing here.
Thank you, Justice McKenna. Over to you, Justice Wilson.
I love to listen to Justice McKenna talk about Jindal, because it is a way of getting the message out about why this institution is worth emulating, because it's fairly unique. The idea that a law school would be interested in transparency in government, the idea that a law school would be interested in the concept of being fair to the disadvantaged and taking care of social problems that have to do with inequities in society. We talk about it in legal education at many of the law schools, but the law schools aren't designed for it. This was a bold undertaking that occurred approximately a decade ago, a bold undertaking to be committed to the public interest. I say bold because, again, this isn't normally what happens. Most law schools are devoted to the idea of providing jobs to people that want to be lawyers. And then on the margins, there might be some emphasis on public interest and social justice, but that's a core and an extremely obvious priority. And it worked. That's my long point. It's worked. Number one law school in India after a decade. It's a difficult proposition to convince anybody unless you actually have seen it happen, which we've seen. Why did it happen? Again, we get back to this idea of public interest. So your colleagues respect it. The community internationally of legal educators respects it. That's why you've been given this position of number one in India and number 70 in the world. So when you ask about how do we get people to be interested in being lawyers that are involved in public interest, it's great to have an iconic example, which this institution is. And I am very excited to have been a part of it. And you have, and Jindal Global Law School has made a difference for our law school at the University of Hawaii. You know, we have both Justice Eddins and Justice McKenna are graduates of that school. Their participation in this program and the interaction that, you know, the externs always have strong interaction with the University of Hawaii Law School. It's a momentum that allows our students to see that being in public interest is an honorable thing. It may not pay as much, may not pay as much economically, but for many people, you know, it's a wonderful, satisfying, meaningful way to spend your professional time. So I think you have managed to provide a very good example of why it is that the public interest profession as a lawyer has credibility and is worth pursuing.
Thank you very much, Justice Wilson. Over to you, Justice Eddins.
You know, all of us love mentoring young, energetic, brilliant minds. I mean, that's part of the fun of this job, actually, is to see just the zeal that young people have when they're first getting into the legal profession. And we are the three of us are so public interest minded. And we also care about the next generation and how they will affect public service and how they will use their skill sets to better society. And that's what we look for. And everybody we interviewed today all had a passion to better society. And that's what the legal profession really needs to do. And Jindal is just generating person after person that's going to come in to your country and do good. And I really commend what you have done here with this school. And quite frankly, this is unprecedented to have a school that started 13 years ago rise to this level, to put out this quality of legal minds. It's just amazing. And I commend you, Vice Chancellor.
Thank you very much, Justice Eddins. As you've heard, our distinguished judges from the Supreme Court of Hawaii, in closing, I want to say that this international judicial clerkship program that the Jindal Global Law School of O.P Jindal Global University offers to its students at the Supreme Court of Hawaii is a unique example of how progressive law schools and progressive judicial institutions can collaborate together in creating a transformative opportunity for young legal minds. In many ways, it demonstrates the serious commitment that the Supreme Court of Hawaii and its distinguished judges have in promoting the concept of international rule of law and bringing together collective consciousness among young legal scholars to pursue the cause of promoting access to justice. I would like to congratulate the students who have just been given this opportunity. And I know for sure that many generations of students who are going to go through this process are going to be immensely benefited by this experience. I want to particularly thank the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Hawaii, as well as all the judges of the Supreme Court of Hawaii for essentially supporting this program and taking it to its logical conclusion. We are returning back with this program in a post-pandemic situation in which this summer we will have these students pursuing this opportunity. I can only hope that in the years to come, there may be other courts in the United States and in other parts of the world which will invest in the idea of promoting international judicial clerkships, which will not only advance the cause of international rule of law, but also help bringing together people from diverse societies, understand each other and appreciate each other's legal systems and contribute to the development of their own institutions. With those words, thank you very much for watching this program, and it's a pleasure to interact with our distinguished judges. Thank you to Honorable Ms. Justice Sabrina McKenna, Honorable Mr. Justice Michael Wilson, and Honorable Mr. Justice Todd Eddins. Thank you.